What you're looking at is a government-run hydropower station hidden deep in the mountains of Bhutan. Looks pretty normal, right? But behind the scenes, it's been quietly powering a state-backed Bitcoin mining operation for years. Now, if we cross a few borders to the west, all the way to Iran, we've got a government that's been hit hard by international sanctions. To get around those restrictions, they've turned to state-backed cryptocurrency mining as a way to fund imports. And just across the border in Pakistan, the government is allocating enough power to run over 1 million homes specifically for Bitcoin mining and AI data centers. So what's going on? Why are entire countries getting into Bitcoin mining? When Bitcoin launched in 2009, mining was something you could do from a regular laptop. As the network grew and more people joined, mining new Bitcoin became harder as designed. The race intensified over the years, and mining has now evolved from being a hobbyist pastime to becoming industrial scale operations with specialized equipment. Mining companies have been around for many years, but lately, governments are catching on too. Interestingly, this new wave of state-backed mining seems to be led by developing countries, with Russia being an exception. You may have heard of Beam before. They started with a focus on gaming, but have expanded way beyond that. Now, Beam's building a full-on ecosystem for what you might call frontier tech. DeFi, decentralized compute, and next-gen dApps, they've got a sizable treasury to bring this vision to life, but they're not just tossing funding around. They're getting involved, helping teams build, making connections, and making sure the different pieces actually work together. And if you're holding the Beam token, you're not just along for the ride. You've got a say in what gets built, how resources are used, and where the network is headed next. So if you're into the idea of building the next wave with a community, not just observing from Twitter, check out their Medium page that we've linked in the description below. In Argentina, there's a region called Vaca Muerta. It is one of the largest shale oil reserves in the world, but parts of it are so remote that the natural gas there has no pipeline, infrastructure, or local market. Normally, it just gets flared, burned off, and wasted. So, in 2024, YPF Luz, a power generation company majority controlled by Argentina's state-owned energy giant YPF, cut a deal with GDA, a crypto infrastructure company. Instead of letting the gas from the Vaca Muerta region go to waste, they're using it to generate electricity at a thermoelectric plant, which will power over 1,000 Bitcoin mining rigs. Around the same time, across the Atlantic, Kenya was striking a deal of its own. While it's not quite in as advanced a stage as Argentina, the government partnered with Marathon Digital, one of the largest Bitcoin mining companies in the US, to tap into underutilized renewable energy sources.
Because Kenya means business.
Now, it's still not exactly clear how big Kenya's project will get, other than the goal of bringing in around $80 million in investments. Pakistan, however, has a crystal clear vision of just how big it wants to go. Earlier this year, they allocated a whopping 2,000 megawatts of power specifically for Bitcoin mining and AI infrastructure. The initiative is led by the Pakistan Crypto Council, a government-backed body focused on turning the country's surplus electricity, mostly from underused coal plants, into economic growth.
The Pakistani government is setting up their own government-led Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Though in this case, where they're using fossil fuels that otherwise wouldn't be, it does raise concerns regarding emissions. But some countries are after more than just being efficient. Well, that's exactly what you'll unexpectedly find in a small, quiet country tucked into the Himalayas, Bhutan. The country is probably not the first to cross your mind when talking about crypto, but for years, Bhutan's government has been quietly mining Bitcoin using its hydropower. The only reason it came out at all was because of bankruptcy filings in 2023, when companies like Celsius and BlockFi collapsed and Bhutan's name showed up in the paperwork. Turns out they've been moving millions of dollars through those platforms. Since then, they've doubled down by going on to partner with one of the biggest Bitcoin mining companies in the world, to raise $500 million and expand their operations. But not every country has been as secretive as Bhutan. El Salvador took a different path, as it has always been public about its crypto operations. They made Bitcoin legal tender back in 2021.
I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador.
And not long after, started mining it using volcanic energy. Then came this project called Volcano Energy. It's basically a public-private effort to turn the country's renewable power into Bitcoin. The government backed it and even took a 23% ownership stake, so they're earning directly from the mining too. So far, we've seen countries mining Bitcoin for efficiency or strategy, but for some nations, it's about survival. Iran was one of the first to take that path. Back in 2019, while most governments were still on the fence, Iran legalized Bitcoin mining. Sanctions had cut them off from the global financial system, so licensed miners were required to sell their Bitcoin to the central bank. That Bitcoin was then used to pay for critical imports. However, most of the mining today doesn't go through that official channel. Reports reveal that up to 85% of the country's mining is unlicensed. A large share of it is linked to entities with protection from within the regime, including the IRGC, a branch of the Iranian military. So while their creative workaround for sanctions has brought in hard currency, it has come at the cost of destabilizing the grid, leaving citizens to deal with the blackouts. Russia also knows a thing or two about using Bitcoin to work around sanctions. After the Ukraine invasion in 2022 and the wave of sanctions that followed, they quickly ramped up their Bitcoin mining efforts. State-backed companies started getting involved, mainly as a way to soften the blow from those sanctions. The government, on the other hand, has been using its sovereign wealth fund to support new mining and AI infrastructure in allied countries too. So yeah, it seems to be a trend that countries are starting to mine Bitcoin, whether it's to get around sanctions, to attract investment, or make use of excess energy, which suggests that Bitcoin's starting to be seen as a strategic resource rather than a niche asset. Now, whether that becomes the norm or just a side story in Bitcoin's history, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, I'm curious to hear what you think. Are national Bitcoin mines the future? Well, let us know in the comments below. Bye.